Have you ever looked at your life and wondered why some people keep moving forward while others remain stuck in the same place year after year? Is it talent? Is it luck? Or is it something much simpler that most people overlook? The truth is that your future is not determined by what you dream about. It is determined by what you do every single day. Every successful person you admire has one thing in common. They learned to take action even when they didn't feel ready. They didn't wait for perfect circumstances. They didn't wait for fear to disappear. They didn't wait for motivation to magically arrive. They simply took the next step again and again until those small steps became an extraordinary journey. Many people spend years searching for the secret to success, yet they ignore the one principle that has always existed. Knowledge without action changes nothing. Dreams without action remain fantasies. Potential without action slowly fades away. The gap between the life you have and the life you want is filled by the actions you choose today. Every morning, you are given a new opportunity. You can either repeat yesterday's excuses or create tomorrow's results. The choice may seem small in the moment, but over weeks, months, and years, those choices shape your character, your confidence, and ultimately your destiny. Your habits quietly write the story of your life long before the results become visible. In this speech, you will discover why daily action is more powerful than temporary motivation, how discipline becomes the foundation of lasting confidence, why discomfort is the doorway to growth, and how consistent effort transforms ordinary people into individuals capable of achieving remarkable things. These lessons are not about chasing perfection. They are about building the mindset that refuses to stand still. So, if you are ready to stop waiting, stop overthinking, and start becoming the person you know you can be, then stay with me until the end. Because the greatest transformation in your life will not begin with a giant leap. It will begin with one decision, one action, and one day at a time. Most people believe confidence comes before action. They tell themselves, when I feel ready, I'll start. When I become more confident, I'll take the first step. But this way of thinking keeps countless people trapped for years. Confidence is not the beginning of the journey. It is the reward for taking the journey. The people who appear fearless today were once uncertain beginners. They simply refused to let uncertainty become an excuse for inaction. Think about the first time you learned something new, whether it was riding a bicycle, speaking in front of a group, learning a new skill, or beginning a new job. You probably didn't feel confident. Your hands may have trembled. Your mind may have been filled with questions. You may even have failed several times. Yet with every attempt, something changed. Your movements became steadier. Your thoughts became clearer. What once seemed impossible slowly became natural. Confidence didn't magically appear before you began. It was built through repetition and experience. Life follows this same principle in every area. If you wait until fear disappears, you may spend your entire life waiting. Fear is often a companion to growth. It appears whenever you step into unfamiliar territory, because your mind is trying to protect you from uncertainty. But not every unfamiliar path is dangerous. Many of them lead to opportunities that can completely transform your life. The challenge is learning to recognize that fear is not always a signal to stop. Sometimes it is simply a sign that you are expanding beyond your current limits. There is a significant difference between preparation and procrastination. Preparation equips you to move forward. Procrastination disguises itself as preparation while quietly convincing you to delay. You tell yourself you need one more book, one more course, one more week, or one more perfect plan. Meanwhile, time continues moving, and the opportunities that once stood before you begin to disappear. The perfect moment rarely arrives. The people who achieve meaningful success understand that progress belongs to those who begin before everything feels perfect. Every action you take sends a message to your mind. When you consistently choose action over hesitation, your mind begins to trust you. It learns that you are someone who follows through instead of giving up. This internal trust is one of the strongest forms of confidence a person can possess. It cannot be borrowed from motivational speeches, compliments, or temporary excitement. It is earned through keeping the promises you make to yourself. Imagine standing at the edge of a cold river. The longer you stand there thinking about the cold water, the more uncomfortable the idea becomes. Your imagination creates reasons not to enter. But the moment you step into the water, your attention shifts from worrying to adapting. You begin adjusting to the experience instead of fearing it. Many challenges in life work the same way. Thinking endlessly about them increases anxiety. Taking action reduces uncertainty because reality is often less frightening than imagination. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing that successful individuals never experience doubt. In reality, they experience doubt just like everyone else. The difference is that they refuse to let doubt make their decisions. They understand that emotions change from day to day, but meaningful progress depends on choices, not feelings. If you only act when you feel inspired, your progress will always be inconsistent. If you learn to act regardless of your mood, your growth becomes unstoppable. Every small action has a compounding effect. Reading 10 pages today may not seem significant, but over a year, it becomes thousands of pages and countless new ideas. Exercising for 30 minutes may not transform your body overnight, but repeated daily, it reshapes your health and strengthens your discipline. Saving a small amount each week may appear insignificant, but over time it creates financial stability. Success rarely arrives through one dramatic event. More often, it is the result of ordinary actions performed consistently over an extended period. Do not underestimate the power of beginning before you feel ready. Every expert was once a beginner who struggled. Every leader was once someone learning to speak with confidence. Every skilled craftsperson once made mistakes. Excellence is not inherited. It is developed through repeated action. The only people who never improve are those who never begin. There will always be reasons to postpone your goals. You may feel tired, uncertain, or overwhelmed. You may believe someone else is more talented or better prepared. But talent without action eventually fades, while consistent effort continues to grow stronger. The person who keeps showing up, learning, adjusting, and moving forward will often surpass the person who relied only on natural ability. Your future is shaped by the decisions you make when no one is watching. It is built in the quiet moments when you choose progress over excuses, discipline over comfort, and action over hesitation. Every time you take one more step, no matter how small, you are proving to yourself that you are capable of more than yesterday. Those repeated moments of courage slowly become confidence, and that confidence becomes the foundation of an extraordinary life. So stop asking yourself whether you are ready. Readiness is not something you discover, it is something you create. Take the first step with the knowledge you have today. Learn as you move, improve as you go. Trust that every action is shaping a stronger, wiser, and more capable version of yourself. One day, you will look back and realize that the moment you chose to act despite uncertainty was the moment your life truly began to change. Motivation is often misunderstood. People speak about it as though it is a magical force that appears on the perfect morning, filling you with endless energy and enthusiasm. But if you observe your own life carefully, you will notice something important. Motivation comes and goes like the weather. Some days you feel unstoppable. Other days you question everything. If your actions depend entirely on how you feel, then your progress will always be unpredictable. This is why discipline is far more valuable than motivation. Discipline continues working even when motivation has disappeared. Think about the rising sun. It does not ask whether it feels inspired to appear each morning. It simply rises because that is its nature. The seasons do not skip their responsibilities because conditions become difficult. Nature teaches us a profound lesson. Consistency creates order, and order creates growth. Human beings are no different. When you build discipline into your daily life, your actions become guided by purpose instead of emotion. Many people make the mistake of believing they need to feel confident before taking action. They wait until fear disappears, until they feel energetic, or until the perfect opportunity arrives. But those moments rarely come on their own. Confidence is not something you receive before the journey begins. It is something you earn after repeatedly doing what is necessary, even when it is uncomfortable. There will always be reasons to delay. Your mind is incredibly skilled at creating excuses that sound reasonable. It will tell you that today is too busy. It will remind you that you are tired. It will convince you that tomorrow will be a better time to start. The danger is not the excuse itself. The danger is accepting it without question. Every excuse you follow becomes a habit, and habits quietly shape your future. Discipline interrupts this cycle. Instead of asking, "Do I feel like doing this today?" discipline asks a different question. Is this the right thing to do? That single shift changes everything. Your emotions no longer become the leader of your life. They become passengers while your principles hold the steering wheel. Imagine two people standing at the beginning of the same journey. One depends entirely on motivation. They work hard when they feel excited, but they stop when the excitement fades. The other depends on discipline. They continue whether they feel inspired or not. At first, the difference between them seems small. After a week, it is barely noticeable. After a month, the disciplined person has gained momentum. After a year, their lives are completely different, not because one was more talented, but because one learned to remain consistent. Discipline is not about forcing yourself to suffer. It is about honoring the promises you make to yourself. Every time you say, you will wake up early and you actually do it, you strengthen your self respect. Every time you finish the work you planned instead of postponing it, you reinforce trust in yourself. Your mind begins to understand that your words have meaning. This quiet trust becomes one of the greatest sources of inner confidence. People often search for dramatic changes, believing one powerful moment will transform everything. But real transformation happens through ordinary decisions repeated every day. Reading a few pages, practicing a skill, exercising for a short time, learning something new, or completing one important task may not seem extraordinary in a single day. Yet these simple actions accumulate. They shape your character in ways that no sudden burst of motivation ever could. It is also important to understand that discipline becomes easier with repetition. In the beginning, every new habit feels difficult because your mind is resisting change. It naturally prefers familiar routines, even if those routines are holding you back. But each time you repeat a positive action, you reduce the resistance. What once felt impossible gradually becomes normal. Eventually, the discipline that required great effort becomes part of who you are. Do not be discouraged when the process feels slow. A tree does not become tall overnight. Before anyone sees its branches reaching toward the sky, its roots spend years growing deeper beneath the ground. Your discipline works the same way. Long before others notice your success, you are building strength where it matters most. You are creating patience, resilience, focus, and self-control. These qualities cannot be purchased or borrowed. They must be earned through consistent practice. There will still be difficult days. Even disciplined people experience fatigue, frustration, and disappointment. The difference is that they do not allow temporary feelings to become permanent decisions. They understand that missing one step is not failure, but abandoning the journey is. They return to their routine, not because it is always easy, but because they know every return makes them stronger than before. Remember, your future is not built on the days when everything goes perfectly. It is built on the ordinary days when no one is watching, when your energy is low, when distractions are everywhere, and you choose to keep moving anyway. Those quiet moments of commitment become the foundation of extraordinary results. So stop waiting for motivation to rescue you. Motivation may light the first spark, but discipline keeps the fire burning. Let your actions be guided by your values instead of your emotions. Continue when it is convenient and continue when it is inconvenient. Continue when progress feels fast and continue when progress feels invisible. In time, you will discover that the strongest people are not those who always feel motivated. They are those who have trained themselves to act, regardless of how they feel. That is the power of discipline, and that is the path to lasting success. Many people underestimate the power of small actions because they are focused only on dramatic results. They believe success arrives through one extraordinary decision, one perfect opportunity, or one life-changing moment. But nature teaches a different lesson. A giant tree does not appear overnight. It begins as a tiny seed, quietly growing beneath the surface long before anyone notices it. Day after day, it develops stronger roots before it reaches toward the sky. Your own growth follows the same principle. The person you become tomorrow is built by the choices you make today, even when those choices seem too small to matter. The greatest mistake people make is believing that if today's effort feels insignificant, it must also be insignificant in its results. But life does not work that way. Every action leaves a mark on your character. Every decision teaches your mind what kind of person you are becoming. When you choose to read a few pages instead of wasting another hour scrolling through distractions, you are not simply gaining information. You are becoming someone who values learning. When you complete a short workout instead of staying inactive, you are not just strengthening your body or strengthening your identity as someone who honors discipline. Your identity is shaped by repetition, not by occasional moments of greatness. Many people wait until they have enough time to make a huge change. They tell themselves they will begin when life becomes less busy, when stress disappears, or when they finally feel motivated. Yet those perfect conditions rarely arrive. Life continues moving, and opportunities quietly pass by while they continue waiting. The wiser approach is to begin with whatever you can do today. Even if your progress seems slow, it is still progress. A single step forward will always take you farther than standing still while planning the perfect journey. Think about water flowing over stone. One drop seems powerless. It cannot break the rock in a single day. But thousands of drops falling consistently over many years slowly reshape even the hardest surface. Persistence accomplishes what force alone often cannot. Your habits work in exactly the same way. Every day you choose discipline instead of comfort, you are carving a stronger version of yourself. People often admire successful individuals without understanding the invisible work behind their achievements. They notice the finished building, but never see the countless bricks that were laid one at a time. They celebrate the champion without seeing the early mornings, the exhausting practice sessions, and the quiet moments when no one was watching. Extraordinary results are simply the visible expression of ordinary actions repeated consistently over a long period. Do not become discouraged because your efforts are not immediately rewarded. Growth often happens silently. The roots of a tree grow deep before the branches stretch high. Likewise, your patience, discipline, and resilience are developing long before the world notices any external success. Just because you cannot yet see the results does not mean your effort is being wasted. Every day presents two paths. One path offers immediate comfort but little progress. The other demands effort but creates lasting change. Comfort is attractive because it asks nothing from you, but it also gives very little in return. Growth, however, asks for patience, persistence, and courage. Although the second path is more difficult, it leads to a life filled with confidence, purpose, and genuine achievement. Do not compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Every person has a different journey, different struggles, and different timing. Your responsibility is not to move faster than others. Your responsibility is simply to move forward. Even if today's progress is only one small improvement over yesterday, you are already building momentum. Momentum is powerful because each completed action makes the next action slightly easier. Remember that confidence does not appear before action. Confidence grows because of action. Every time you complete a task you promised yourself you would do, your mind begins to trust you a little more. Over time, that trust becomes unshakable self-belief. The strongest people are not those who never struggle. They are those who continue taking small steps despite their struggles. Some days you will feel energetic, while other days you will feel tired and unmotivated. Do not allow your emotions to determine your direction. Feelings change constantly, but your commitment should remain steady. If you only work when you feel inspired, your progress will always depend on circumstances you cannot control. Instead, let your daily habits become stronger than your temporary emotions. Imagine placing one brick every single day. One brick appears meaningless. After a week, it still seems small. After a month, you begin to notice a structure. After a year, you have built something solid and lasting. Your life is constructed in exactly the same way. Every healthy decision, every lesson learned, every promise kept, and every challenge faced becomes another brick in the foundation of your future. Never underestimate today's effort simply because tomorrow's reward is not yet visible. The smallest actions, repeated with unwavering consistency, possess extraordinary power. They transform weakness into strength, uncertainty into confidence, and dreams into reality. Great lives are not built through occasional moments of perfection. They are built through countless ordinary days when a person quietly chooses to keep moving forward, one small step at a time. Most people believe that the greatest obstacles in life are outside of them. They blame difficult circumstances, demanding people, lack of opportunities, or bad timing. While these challenges are real, they are rarely the true reason someone remains stuck. The real obstacle is often the instinct to escape discomfort. The moment something feels difficult, the mind searches for an easier path. It wants immediate relief instead of long-term growth. Yet every meaningful achievement requires you to walk through discomfort rather than around it. Think about how a seed grows. It begins in complete darkness beneath the soil. It must push against the weight of the earth before it ever reaches the sunlight. If the seed could choose comfort, it would remain exactly where it was planted. But because it continues pushing through resistance, it eventually becomes a tree strong enough to withstand storms. Human growth follows the same principle. Resistance is not a sign that you are failing, More often, it is evidence that you are developing. Your mind is designed to protect you. Thousands of years ago, avoiding discomfort often meant staying alive. Today, however, the same protective instinct can become an obstacle. It convinces you to avoid difficult conversations, challenging projects, unfamiliar experiences, and ambitious goals. It whispers that staying where you are is safer than risking failure. Although this voice sounds reasonable, it quietly keeps you from discovering what you are truly capable of becoming. Growth begins the moment you stop asking, "How can I avoid this?" and start asking, "What can this experience teach me?" That single shift changes everything. Instead of seeing discomfort as an enemy, you begin recognizing it as a teacher. Every uncomfortable moment carries a lesson that comfort could never provide. Consider the first time you learned a new skill. Whether it was speaking in front of people, exercising, driving, learning a language, or starting a business, it probably felt awkward. You made mistakes, you doubted yourself, you wanted to quit. But with every attempt, the unfamiliar slowly became familiar. The activity that once created anxiety eventually became something you could do with confidence. The discomfort never existed to stop you. It existed to transform you. Many people spend years waiting until they feel confident before taking action. But confidence is not the beginning of the journey. It is the reward for repeatedly facing uncertainty. Every courageous action tells your mind, "I survived this challenge." Over time, your fear loses its influence because your experience becomes stronger than your imagination. Life has a remarkable way of presenting the same lesson until you are willing to learn it. The conversation you avoid today may return tomorrow in another form. The fear you refuse to confront now may appear again in a different situation. Running from discomfort rarely removes it. It usually causes it to grow larger inside your mind. Facing it, however, gradually reduces its power. Imagine standing at the edge of cold water. The anticipation often feels worse than the experience itself. Your mind creates endless reasons to delay stepping in. Yet once you take the first step, your body begins to adapt. The same happens with life's challenges. The fear before action is often greater than the difficulty of the action itself. There is a powerful difference between pain that weakens you and discomfort that strengthens you. Meaningless suffering drains your energy, but purposeful discomfort expands your abilities. Waking up early to work toward your goals may be uncomfortable. Practicing a difficult skill every day may be uncomfortable. Remaining patient while building something meaningful may be uncomfortable. Yet these forms of discomfort shape a stronger character and prepare you for opportunities that comfort never could. Every time you choose the harder but wiser path, you strengthen your relationship with yourself. You prove that your decisions are not controlled by temporary emotions. You become someone who acts according to values rather than feelings. That is where true inner strength is born. Remember that the strongest people are not those who never experience fear. They are those who refuse to let fear make their decisions. Courage is not the absence of discomfort. Courage is continuing despite discomfort. Every meaningful accomplishment in history required someone to move forward without certainty. If they had waited until everything felt comfortable, nothing extraordinary would have been created. There will be days when your progress feels invisible. There will be moments when you question whether your effort is worth it. Those moments are often the most important. They reveal whether you are committed to temporary comfort or lasting transformation. The person who continues despite uncertainty eventually develops resilience that cannot be shaken by small setbacks. Each challenge you overcome becomes evidence that you are stronger than you once believed. Each obstacle you face increases your capacity to handle the next one. What once seemed impossible slowly becomes manageable, and what once intimidated you eventually becomes part of your normal life. Never measure your life by how comfortable it feels. Measure it by how much you are growing. Comfort may give you temporary peace, but growth gives you lasting confidence. Every step into the unknown expands your perspective, strengthens your discipline, and reveals abilities that were hidden beneath fear. When you stop escaping discomfort and begin embracing it as part of your journey, you discover something extraordinary. The challenges you once feared become the very experiences that shape your wisdom. The struggles you wanted to avoid become the foundation of your resilience. And the person you become through that process is far stronger than the person who remained safely inside the boundaries of comfort. So, when life presents you with a difficult choice, do not immediately search for the easiest path. Choose the path that helps you grow. Choose the action that strengthens your character. Choose the challenge that teaches patience, discipline, and courage. Because every time you face discomfort with purpose instead of fear, you are not simply overcoming another obstacle. You are becoming the kind of person who can achieve things that once seemed impossible. One of the greatest misunderstandings about success is believing that it begins with external achievement. People often think that once they reach a certain goal, earn more money, gain recognition, or accomplish something impressive, they will finally feel confident, disciplined, and in control. But the truth is exactly the opposite. Everything you create in the outside world begins with what you first build within yourself. Before you can master your goals, you must learn to master your mind. Your mind is like a powerful servant, but a dangerous master. If you allow every thought, emotion, and impulse to control your decisions, your life will constantly move in different directions. One day you feel motivated, so you work hard. The next day you feel tired, so you quit. One moment you believe in yourself, and the next you begin doubting everything you have started. When your emotions become your leader, consistency becomes impossible. But when your values become your leader, your emotions slowly learn to follow. Notice how often your mind creates stories that have never happened. Before beginning a difficult task, it whispers, "You might fail." Before speaking in front of others, it says, "They will judge you." Before pursuing a dream, it warns, "You are not good enough." These thoughts feel convincing because they come from within you. Yet most of them are not facts. They are simply predictions shaped by fear, past experiences, and uncertainty. A wise person learns to observe these thoughts without immediately believing them. Every thought does not deserve your attention. Every emotion does not deserve your obedience. Just because fear appears does not mean danger exists. Just because doubt speaks does not mean you should listen. The strongest people are not those who never experience negative thoughts. They are the ones who refuse to let those thoughts decide the direction of their lives. Imagine standing beside a river. Leaves float across the surface of the water, coming and going without stopping the river's flow. Your thoughts are much like those leaves. They appear, they pass, and they disappear. Problems begin only when you jump into the river and allow yourself to be carried away by every passing thought. Inner strength comes from watching those thoughts pass without becoming trapped by them. This is why silence is so valuable. In a noisy world filled with endless opinions, notifications, distractions, and comparisons, your own inner voice becomes difficult to hear. Many people are constantly consuming information, but rarely spending time understanding themselves. They know what everyone else is doing, yet they have forgotten what they themselves truly want. Spend a few moments each day in silence. Let your mind settle. The answers you are searching for often arrive when the noise disappears. Another important lesson is learning to separate temporary feelings from permanent decisions. You will not always feel confident. You will not always feel inspired. There will be mornings when your energy is low, and evenings when your motivation seems completely gone. If you make important decisions based only on how you feel in those moments, you will build a life of inconsistency. Instead, remind yourself that emotions change like the weather. Some days are sunny, others are filled with storms, yet the sky remains the same above them all. Your purpose should remain steady, regardless of emotional weather. Mastering your mind also means protecting it from unnecessary negativity. Be careful about what you watch, what you read, and who influences your thinking. Every conversation, every video, every book, and every habit plants a seed in your mind. Some seeds grow into confidence and wisdom. Others grow into fear, comparison, and distraction. Your mind becomes whatever you repeatedly feed it. If you constantly fill it with complaints, you will begin to see problems everywhere. If you consistently fill it with learning, discipline, and gratitude, you will begin to notice opportunities that others overlook. There is another habit that quietly steals countless dreams: overthinking. Many people believe that thinking longer will guarantee a better outcome. But there comes a point when thinking no longer creates clarity, it creates hesitation. The mind keeps searching for perfect certainty, yet life rarely offers it. You cannot predict every obstacle before taking the first step. Sometimes the answers you seek only appear after you begin moving. Action often teaches what endless thinking never can. This is why courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is choosing to move even while fear remains. Every meaningful accomplishment requires walking into uncertainty. You cannot grow stronger while avoiding everything that challenges you. The mind becomes resilient by facing discomfort repeatedly, not by escaping it. The relationship you have with yourself matters more than the opinions of others. If you constantly criticize yourself for every mistake, your confidence slowly disappears. Instead, treat mistakes as teachers rather than enemies. Every failure contains information that success could never provide. Instead of asking, "Why did I fail?" ask, "What can this experience teach me?" That single change in perspective transforms setbacks into stepping stones. Remember that self control is not about suppressing who you are, it is about directing your energy toward what truly matters. Every time you resist a distraction, finish a difficult task, or keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen your ability to lead your own life instead of being controlled by circumstances. This quiet discipline may not attract immediate attention, but over time it builds an unshakable foundation. Eventually, there comes a moment when you realize that the greatest victory is not earning applause from the world. The greatest victory is waking up each day, knowing that your mind works with you instead of against you. When your thoughts become disciplined, your actions become purposeful. When your actions become purposeful, your habits become powerful. And when your habits become powerful, your goals are no longer distant dreams. They become natural outcomes of the person you have chosen to become. Most people believe exceptional individuals are born with extraordinary abilities. They imagine that success belongs only to those with rare talent, perfect opportunities, or natural confidence. But if you study the lives of those who have accomplished great things, you will notice a different pattern. Their greatest advantage was not brilliance, it was consistency. They kept showing up long after the excitement disappeared. They continued working when nobody was watching. They understood that becoming exceptional is not about doing something incredible once. It is about doing the ordinary things with extraordinary commitment every single day. Consistency has a quiet power. It rarely produces dramatic results overnight, which is why so many people underestimate it. In a world that celebrates instant success and quick rewards, consistent effort often feels too slow. You work today, yet nothing seems different. You work tomorrow, and the results are still invisible. After a week, it may seem as though nothing has changed. This is where many people stop. They mistake invisible progress for no progress. They assume their efforts are wasted because they cannot immediately see the outcome. But nature teaches a different lesson. A seed planted beneath the soil does not break through the surface on the first day. Before anyone sees a single leaf, roots are growing deep underground. Those roots are preparing the plant to withstand storms and support future growth. If the seed stopped growing simply because nothing was visible, it would never become a tree. Human growth follows the same principle. The strongest changes often happen long before anyone can recognize them. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you strengthen your character. Every time you complete a task you promised yourself, you build trust in your own abilities. That trust becomes confidence, not because someone praised you, but because your actions repeatedly prove that you can rely on yourself. Real confidence is earned through consistency. It is built one decision at a time, one habit at a time, and one day at a time. There will be days when you feel inspired, and working will seem easy. Those days are enjoyable, but they are not the days that define your future. The days that shape your life are the ones when you feel tired, distracted, discouraged, or uncertain. Those are the moments when consistency becomes your greatest teacher. If you continue despite discomfort, you prove that your commitment is stronger than your emotions. Understand that feelings constantly change. Some mornings you wake up energetic, other mornings you wake up exhausted. If your actions depend entirely on your feelings, your progress will always be unstable. But when your actions are guided by discipline instead of emotion, you become dependable. You no longer ask yourself whether you feel like working. You simply do what needs to be done because you know your future depends on today's effort. Think about a sculptor creating a masterpiece from a massive block of stone. No single strike of the chisel creates the final sculpture. Each strike appears small and almost meaningless. Yet every careful movement removes another unnecessary piece until the hidden masterpiece slowly emerges. Your daily habits work in exactly the same way. Every book you read, every skill you practice, every workout you complete, every distraction you resist, and every promise you keep removes another limitation from your life. Eventually, people admire the finished sculpture, but they never witness the thousands of small actions that made it possible. Many people spend their lives chasing motivation, because motivation feels exciting. But motivation is temporary. It rises and falls like the weather. Some days it shines brightly, while other days it disappears completely. If you depend on motivation, your progress will stop whenever your emotions change. Consistency, however, is not based on emotion. It is based on commitment. Commitment allows you to continue even when enthusiasm has faded. Do not compare your chapter 1 with someone else's chapter 20. Every expert was once a beginner. Every confident person once struggled with self-doubt. Every successful individual once faced failure, criticism, and uncertainty. What made the difference was not perfection. It was persistence. They refused to let temporary setbacks become permanent excuses. Failure itself is not dangerous. Giving up is. Every mistake contains a lesson that prepares you for the next attempt. The person who succeeds is often the one who simply continues learning while others decide to quit. Every challenge strengthens patience. Every obstacle develops resilience. Every setback teaches wisdom. When you remain consistent, even your failures begin working in your favor. Remember that greatness is rarely built during extraordinary moments. It is built during ordinary mornings, when you choose to get out of bed instead of making excuses. It is built during quiet evenings when you choose to learn instead of wasting time. It is built through the countless invisible decisions that nobody applauds, but that slowly transform your identity. Years from now, your life will reflect what you repeatedly practiced, not what you occasionally wished for. If you practice discipline, discipline becomes part of your identity. If you practice courage, courage becomes natural. If you practice consistency, success eventually becomes the consequence rather than the goal. Never underestimate the power of showing up one more day. One more lesson can improve your knowledge. One more workout can strengthen your body. One more attempt can bring you closer to mastery. One more decision to continue can completely change the direction of your life. The world often notices only the final achievement, but true transformation happens long before success becomes visible. It happens in silence, through repeated effort, patient discipline, and unwavering consistency. Keep moving forward, even when progress feels slow. Keep honoring your commitments, even when no one is watching. Keep taking action, even when the results are hidden. Because ordinary people become exceptional, not through one extraordinary act, but through thousands of ordinary actions performed with extraordinary consistency. Day after day, choice after choice, they quietly build a life that once seemed impossible. And one day, when others call them gifted or lucky, they smile. Not because luck carried them there, but because they know the truth. Their greatest strength was simply that they never stopped.